Hello and welcome to this special show on Rajya Sabha Television. I am Vishal Dahiya and here we take a stock of the battle against COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the researchers and scientists at the Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology, that's IGIB and NCDC, have developed a new technique to detect novel coronavirus through mass spectrometry. Today, in this particular show, we'll try and understand what exactly is mass spectrometry and how does it help in detection of COVID-19 and how will it eventually help us in the overall battle against this particular disease. For more on this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of guests. Let me first introduce them to you, beginning with Dr. Shantanu Sen-Gupta. He's a senior principal scientist with IGIB, part of the team who has worked on this particular mass spectrometry test. We also are joined by Dr. Rakesh Mishra, director of the Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology, that is CCMB, Hyderabad, and Dr. Sunila Garg as well, director, professor, and head of the community medicine at Maulana Azad Medical College in New Delhi. So let me begin the show and let me begin with you, Dr. Shantanu, since you and your team has worked on this particular test. If you could give us a lowdown on what exactly is mass spectrometry and what is this particular test?
So, in a mass spectrometer, we can detect the mass to charge ratio of peptides. So, how we are using it in this case of detection of peptides from SARS-CoV-2 is we take the nasopharyngeal swab and from there we precipitate the proteins and then do a digestion. So, we need to chop the protein into peptides and then directly detect those peptides using mass spectrometry. So, if you know the mass to charge ratio of the peptides, which we obtained from another high resolution mass spectrometry earlier, you are now able to detect whether the peaks are present in that particular person or not. If the peak is present, then the person has infection. If the peak is not present, the person does not have the infection.
Okay. And what's the difference here between the mass spectrometry test and the gold standard RT-PCR?
Yeah, so in RT-PCR, you generally use an RNA. So you convert the RNA to DNA, then you hybridize it with the primers and amplify them to get a signal. So you need intact RNA there. So, the transport, this has been often discussed, that the transport of the viral media with RNA intact requires a lot of caution. In contrast to that, the method we are proposing, since we are not interested in RNA, and we are not interested too much on the intactness of the protein, we just simply can collect the viral swab on the detergent and immediately that kills the virus. And from there, we can just precipitate the protein and do a direct detection. So unlike any other techniques, for example, RT-PCR, which is of course a very sensitive technique, you need to do hybridization which is binding and then amplification. Here you are getting a direct detection of the peptides.
Okay, so you mean to say that but it's a bit easier exercise than the RT-PCR test, and also it is said that it takes lesser time. How does that happen? And any other benefits of going with mass spectrometry test rather than going with others?
So RT-PCR test has been already very well established and is being followed everywhere. So this is an alternate where you are actually it is much easier to handle. Any person dealing with it, it is just a two-step reaction where you don't need a very highly qualified person to do the processing. And then once you process the samples, you can load 100 samples together in the mass spectrometer. You don't need to bother. It will automatically run. So it is machine dependent. So it is less manpower intensive. And the accuracy of mass spec is very widely known. Mass specs are generally very routinely used for dope testing or any other impurity testing. So anywhere where there is an export kind of thing, mass specs are generally used because of its accuracy and sensitivity. So we use that technique to try and see if we can detect virus peptides from SARS-CoV-2.
Okay, so will it be okay to say that in terms of accuracy and sensitivity as well, and also because of the fact that it does not involve too much of trained manpower and the time required is also less, this can be termed as an alternative to the gold standard RT-PCR?
of course, it's an alternative, but RT-PCR has been time tested. Mass spec in the health industry in India, at least, has not been tested. So to bring it to the field, we need to do lots of samples in various conditions and also various instruments to say that yes, it is ready.
Okay. Let me bring in Dr. Rakesh Mishra here. Dr. Mishra, your views on the entire concept of mass spectrometry and how, as Dr. Shantanu is pointing out, this has been utilized now to go ahead and detect novel coronavirus. Obviously, there are different kind of testing techniques which we have spoken about on this particular show, including RT-PCR, antibody, antigen tests, and some other testing formats as well. So, where would you place the mass spectrometry test in the range of all these testing techniques or methodologies available to us right now?
Yeah, so you see, in past decade or couple of decades, the mass spectrometry had actually revolutionized the way we understand many aspects of biology. We understand about the protein, various versions of proteins, various modifications of protein, because the technique is absolutely accurate. It calculates and tells you the mass of a particular molecule when it's flying, the condition in which these experiments are done. So it's very sophisticated and sensitive technique, very accurate technique, and we are fighting a battle against an so far unknown enemy, and we are understanding it better and better. So more tools, more ways of detecting the virus are absolutely essential. There is no doubt about that, and it is really exciting that how in very short period of time our institutions have responded to this challenge and come up with this kind of sophisticated test that you can use mass spec. I mean, if you do the mass spec experiment, you realize how complex it is to interpret the results. There will be tons of peaks coming, but identifying the exact signature and picking and telling from the millions of molecules a peptide from there is an amazing achievement, I must say. Having said that, this gives us a tool where many other tests may be confusing. Many things will be. It is not going to replace RT for simple reasons that RT is based on PCR, which even a couple of molecules can be amplified at certain point. But this certainly provides another tool to scientists to understand the virus, detect it in a very precise way. But this is absolutely accurate technique. While in RT you can make a mistake in the sense a wrong amplification or some air contamination, those things can amplify, give you false results. But this one gives results which you can buy as a really definitive. There is no question about that. But if the virus load is very low and those kinds of things, you might miss out sometimes. Every technique has its limitations and its merits.
Okay.
So I'm really excited that we are able to establish such a technique, and I understand this even paper is published in reviewed journals, so that means it's reviewed by peers. So it's already there for scientific community to make as much use of it as they wish to.
Okay, definitely. It is a cause of, celebration amongst the scientific community that one more methodology has been developed. How effective it would be, that is something which we will get to know as more and more tests are done, as pointed out by Dr. Shantanu. But there are certain benefits as well of this particular test. Let me bring in Dr. Sunila Garg here. Dr. Garg, from your point of view, how beneficial a testing methodology like mass spectrometry can be on the ground specifically, now that we are in a certain stage of our battle against COVID-19, wherein a lot of unlock process is happening. People are coming out for work on the ground, outside on the roads. They're traveling. They're going to their offices as well. So a lot of public movement is happening out there. In that situation, having one more testing methodology and specifically mass spectrometry, how would you look at its utilization or usefulness?
Thank you so much, and thank you to Dr. Shantanu and Dr. Mishra for bringing out this important technology and debating on it. First of all, I'd like to say that today we have crossed almost 43 lakh cases, and we are getting more and more number of cases. Yesterday we had also around plus 77,000 cases, and we are in unlock phase 4. And gradually, our traditional bound, which we were, facing since last 5 months, we have loosened that. Actually, now we have started our offices, we have started our, businesses and all that. So definitely, this technology needs to be viewed very, very carefully. Now, let me bring to your knowledge that, we have been already using this technology for the diagnosis of metabolic disorders, for the diagnosis of bacterial and fungal infections and all that. Now, and another important thing is that RT-PCR, which has been a gold standard. But the point to be noted with RT-PCR is that it requires lot of, kind of protocols. We need to carry the samples very, very carefully. It needs a biosafety level 4 laboratory. It needs, if the sample is kind of, if it is leaked sample, it involves lot of risk to the healthcare workers if they do not follow proper precautions as well. Now, in this case, what I can see from the public health perspective, from the advantages point of view, as has been mentioned, that it is based on the detection of peptides, and which will also help us in long run, not only, in terms of screening more samples, as has been said that initially the sample actually processing time is 30 minutes, but detection is only 3 minutes. So these two peptides what have been detected now, basically will help us, in predicting about SARS coronavirus 2, and much more needs to be worked on this kind of technologies, though I'll say it's not a really, as of now, from the Indian perspective, where we had a huge infrastructure and huge population, right from our under Ayushman Bharat, we have got health and wellness centers, we have got sub-centers, primary health centers, district hospitals and all that. So we need to, have a technology which can be scaled up gradually under our systems. So that is where it is, we need to see how much cost intensive it has got to be, because a machine will require between 50 lakhs to some crores, that is what it is. And then manpower training is another important thing which we need to look at. But once we scale up the whole thing, the things may become cheaper. Another point is that we have to link it everything to the point of care. We are really excited about the technology, but we need to work more on it. Another part is that when, Dr. Shantanu mentioned about the swabs, people have done it on gargles also, which is an easier sample to collect. So that is where is the advantage of this technique, and we need to work on, the simpler techniques, because as you increase your technology, it becomes more and more cost effective, and we should rather see that, up till district level, our, centers can be empowered with this technology in the long run. But to begin with, we can tie up with the centers of excellence, and we can start with this technology.
Okay, interesting. There are, simpler techniques will make it easier to scale up the entire testing strategy and testing operations. But let me bring in Dr. Shantanu there on the cost effectiveness. And Dr. Shantanu, all of us know that one of the important parameters of deploying a particular methodology at mass level is obviously cost. It's cost effectiveness. And as Dr. Garg was pointing out that initial cost is a bit significant, and then there is training involved as well. So how would you go ahead and summarize the cost effectiveness part as far as mass spectrometry is concerned, because we're talking about utilizing it as a point of care test, as Dr. Garg is saying.
See, cost of mass spectrometer is very high, as has been pointed out by everybody. But the beauty of it is the cost of running cost, the consumable cost that we call, is much lower than any other technique. So in effect, this probably the cost of the machine, if we do 30-40,000 tests, 50,000 tests, that will offset the cost of the mass spec. That's what my view on that was. Of course, commercial entities, I am not so much well versed with how commercialization happens, but I just wanted to point out that currently we can do in the lab setting the test at a consumable cost of 100 rupees. Okay. So you can understand if, and we buy, major cost of it is the column of the mass spec, which is about 60,000 rupees, where you can do 1,000 to 1,500 reactions. Now, once it is scaled up, the cost automatically, the running cost automatically comes down. If you see, when we started, the RT-PCR consumable cost was around 1,200 to 1,500 rupees. Now you can get RT-PCR kits for around 250 rupees just because of scaling up. And the more number of tests you do, the cost of the instrument is also offset. Yes, the initial cost of the mass spec is high, and I'm sure that you need much more convincing ourselves and to the research and community and the clinicians that yes, this technology can be used before this can be deployed in a much larger scale.
Okay.
So yeah, the initial cost is high, but that can be offset when you have to do a large number of tests.
Okay, so it's about economy of scale there as far as this particular test is concerned. But one more point there, Dr. Shantanu, and that is, as Dr. Garg pointed out, in terms of collecting swabs, how about that option of looking at the option of gargles also being taken as an option of collecting swabs for these kind of tests, mass spectrometry specifically?
Yes, so there has been one report which has done it using gargles. What we are now trying to do, can we do it in saliva? Right, probably saliva is easiest. So we have asked our colleagues to see if they can collect saliva samples for us. Those things are on the way. We are actually trying to do it because nasopharyngeal swab, as Dr. Garg pointed out, is not very convenient way of handling it. So saliva or gargle, yes, will work better. And we are in the process of now standardizing things using that.
Okay, one last thing before I move on to Dr. Rakesh for his view and Dr. Garg as well for the concluding point is, Dr. Shantanu, how, safe is this particular kind of testing methodology vis-a-vis the other, testing methodologies which are deployed? And this I'm asking from the point of view of the health workers who will be involved with it, be it the sample collectors or those who are working on these samples to try and find the final result.
Yeah, so that is the beauty of this. That's what, as Dr. Garg pointed out, in RT-PCR or where you're handling RNA and all, you need a BSL 2 or 3, a BSL 3 kind of lab or BSL 2 minimum, right? But for this, you can do it in an open lab. You don't need, because you have already killed the virus using detergent.
Okay.
But
So in terms of safety protocols, yes, it is really important there. Dr. Rakesh, I would like to come to you on the cost part here, because we've have discussion on various kind of testing methodologies earlier which were developed, and then we discussed about them, and this particular aspect, that is the cost, did become a very important significant feature there when we're talking about scaling up. So as both Dr. Garg and Dr. Shantanu is pointing out, initial cost is significant, but would you agree with both of them that as it goes moves further, we might perhaps offset the cost of the initial equipment?
Yeah, absolutely. There is no doubt about that, because that is one thing which we have is our strength, which is our population. So all the time we are going to cross all the numbers any country in the world. So that is our strength. That is our problem also. So these kinds of techniques, when you are using, instrument will stay the same way. Another advantage is, when you do RT-PCR and all, you need sophisticated equipment. They need, when the reagent, they need to be all said and done. Still, many components are still imported and so on. Here, things are very simple. You don't need so much of reagents. It is basically, essentially, reagent-free kind of thing. So, you are really looking at something. Once you have machine which is in place, then you can optimize it and do very large number on a daily basis. And these machines, if imagine that these kind of tests become very common and they become they are required for most diagnostic centers, the machines also become cheaper. All these cost is based on the scale, because proteomics facilities are in very few places, very few people buy such machines, so that's why they are expensive. Anything, whether your mobile phone, computer, all those things, what you pay is not actually what is the production cost of those things. It is the research money that has gone, and companies have to survive, so they keep the cost this way. So once these things become more popular and more numbers, even instrument cost will go down, and certainly the test which is so cheap will certainly offset the cost of the machine. So there is no doubt that it will work out economically. And it will have its own place in diagnostic space in days to come.
Okay. Let me bring in Dr. Sunila Garg here for final comments. Now, two aspects we've already cleared. One is the safety aspect of it. And Dr. Garg, you only started this particular point wherein you mentioned that as far as the biosafety levels, this is considered to be much more safer. And Dr. Shantanu also agrees to that. As far as cost is concerned, all of you agree that initially it might be costlier, but then going along, we can bring down the cost. So now, if I may ask you from the public health perspective and also from the perspective of deploying this as a point of care test, because as I was saying earlier, this from here onwards, the battle against COVID-19 is in a phase where we have to learn to live with the virus, but also, fight against it.
Yes. You have really pointed out a very, correct thing, that we need to fight against the virus. But in the fight against the virus, we need to remember that we also are talking about a technology which is available, at a much, though it's costly right now, but you see from the public health perspective, when I look at it, initial costs are really high. Number two, when we talked of infection control, we need to keep another thing in mind which was there is the point of sample collection. That point we cannot tell our manpower to be loose with that because we are dealing with collection of samples. The processing of samples, biosafety labs and all are another point of concerns which may not be required for this. So that point also has to be taken into consideration. But at this point, I will also like to bring into consideration, another fact with Dr. Shantanu and Dr. Mishra, that apart from biochemists, molecular biologists and all that, we also will need physicians and public health experts to talk about, because ultimately what through this technology, mass spectrometry, we are also aiming to develop the guidelines which will help us in treating the individuals with different levels of severity. As of now, we have got assumptions and on the basis of which we are treating, because through mass spectrometry only we detected that we can use hydroxychloroquine and all that, and we started and it is helping us in inflammation. So maybe standard treatment guidelines will come out with people who are suffering with different severity of infection. So that way this technique will be useful. But from the public health perspective, we have to go a long way. But this technology which is available and it can be which has been it is a technology, is tested technology, so there is no doubt about the technology part. But for SARS coronavirus, we are using it for the first time. That's what it is. But so this technology needs to be looked into with careful details, and we need to have very strict protocols to begin with, because ultimately our protocols will be in the best manner we will be able to address coronavirus infection, which is actually right now we do not know in what way, because it's a kind of an exponential rise in terms of infection. Mm-hmm. So that's where we need to be carefully looking at the protocols and also standardization of the technique, and also thirdly about reaching to the last mile. That is my concern, that how do you reach the last mile with the help of this technology, whether we have it at district level, whether we have it at regional center level, whether we have, though we say it can be used at railway platforms, it can be used at airports and all that, but okay, what will be our focal point? So that is another point of concern, which are issues to ponder upon, and we need to look into it from this direction.
Okay. Thank you so much there. Definitely from the point of view of public health, it is really important to ensure that all these kind of testing methodologies do reach the last mile. So this is all about mass spectrometry test for COVID-19 pandemic. And I'll once again thank our guests, Dr. Shantanu, Dr. Rakesh Mishra and Dr. Sunila Garg for sharing their valuable time and views with us. And our viewers will take a break here and we'll come back again tomorrow with a different topic. Till then, you keep watching Rajya Sabha television, but please do not forget to wear a face mask when you step out of your houses, because that is the best defense against COVID-19 as of now. Thank you.